Just calling for an update on your embryos.
Okay.
So there were 6 today that made it to the blastocyst stage. We'll biopsy and freeze. Looks like the remaining embryos are arrested, so it's just going to be those 6.
Okay.
So we'll get those results announced today, and then you guys should have the results back. It's usually about a week to 2 weeks.
Okay, and how do they look quality-wise?
So you had one was a BA, one was an AB, you had a BB, and then 3 BCs.
Okay.
BC is probably the most common score we give. So, you know, and they've got to be a certain quality or we won't, you know, waste your time.
Okay.
Them, you know. So, yeah, so they're all decent.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, all right, thanks, Abby.
Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How did I only end up with 6?
How do we do this?
I'm like, I mean, I'm happy.
How we do this? How we do this?
Hey, buddy.
How we do this?
Oh, I look really bad.
How we do this? How we do this?
Hold on just a second, okay?
How we do
I mean, I'm happy to have some, but that's like, I had 17. I had 17 fertilized. And I only got 6. Comparing to last time, I had 15 fertilized.
How we do this?
And I got 9.
How we do this? How we do this?
And maybe their standards at this
How we
clinic.
do
Hold on, honey. Can you hold on?
how we
And maybe their standards at this clinic are different, and maybe they don't like.
I'm done
I mean, he kind of just said, right? Like, we don't waste your time with it. We don't waste our time with it. If they're below a certain standard, and maybe their standard is higher than the other clinic's standard. I was expecting more than 6 though. Because now, only like 66% statistically. Whoa. I think statistically, 66% come back abnormal. I don't know if that statistic is true. Somebody just told me that. That's definitely a word of mouth statistic. But 66% abnormal. I'm gonna get like 2. Dang it. And that's if everything turns out statistically. I have the other embryos. I need to remember that I have the other embryos that I could genetic test. I'm not doing it right now, but I could. I'm grateful. And for, I don't want everyone to think that I'm being like ungrateful, but this is like my real life, and I was expecting better and I was hoping for better, and I'm happy with that I have some, but based on my experience last time, I was expecting more. So it's fine. There are still some, and really nothing. I mean, none of these numbers are even matter until we get genetic testing results back. So, and I haven't really mentioned this much, but I think I have OHSS. Ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome. I have not been feeling good. I'm bloated. Like my abdomen is like tender to the touch. Anyway, I emailed the nurse just to see what she says, but okay, I guess I need to pay attention. Hi. Okay, I'm gonna help you. Can you wave bye?
Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
I love you.
Okay, now that I'm a little more put together this day, let's talk. First, let's talk embryos. I don't want it to come across that I am Not grateful for the 6 that I have. I just was surprised. Isn't this stupid that I feel like I have to explain myself? I just feel like I'm gonna get attacked because I'm not grateful or something. I just was surprised with how low the number was. 17 fertilized. I got 23 eggs, 20 were mature, 17 fertilized. I would have expected a way higher, not way, but I would have expected a higher number than 6. After talking about it with Mike a little further, I mean, they did say, I should watch that video back, that phone call. But he did say in that video something about like their standards were, you know, they have a standard and they're not gonna waste their time or my time on some that I have the lower quality. It's true. I don't know the difference between the standard at my old clinic and the standard at this clinic. So the fact that I got 9 last time, maybe I would have had 12 this time based on the old clinic standards, and so that would have been a little bit more in line. I am also like older, like 4 years older, but I got more eggs, so that's where I'm kind of like, yes, I'm older, but that didn't really show up in the, I don't know, I guess it could show up in the quality, but anyway. So I don't want to come across as ungrateful. I just was surprised that I only got 6. I am very nervous about the genetic testing. Statistically, right, 66% come back abnormal. That would leave me with 2. But I don't know if I'm going to follow statistics. I don't, in my family and in Mike's family, there is no genetic abnormalities that we are aware of. So I always kind of thought that genetic testing would not really be super helpful. But having had 3 transfers in the last 1.5 years that have all failed, well, 1 a miscarriage, but 2 that have failed. But the miscarriage, the doctor totally believes was genetic abnormality related. The fact that I've had 3 in the last 1.5 years fail, 3 in a row, I mean, and they go by quality. They implant them or transfer them by quality. So they were my next 3 best embryos. They didn't work. So there is a small part of me that thinks there might be more genetic issues going on than I'm aware of. So that's what makes me nervous about only having 6, is then you send them off for genetic testing, and statistically I should only have 2, and I don't even know if I'm gonna have statistic. I do need to remember I still have 5 more at the other clinic that I could get genetic tested, or I could just transfer. So I really still, at this point have 11, but that's 11 untested. 6 of them are getting tested. We may end up testing the other 5 if this ends up being, I didn't think we would need to. Truthfully, I thought we would get more than this, so I don't know. Anyway, so that's that. It'll be like 2 weeks before we hear back about genetic testing, so. Okay, let's talk OHSS. So I kind of just quickly mentioned that I have not been feeling well, and I think I've mentioned it in a previous time that I haven't been feeling well. About 2 days after the transfer, the day after, Mike even said to me, you seem like you're feeling a lot better than I expected you to feel. And I did. I felt pretty good. I mean, I didn't feel perfect, but I felt pretty good. And then about 2 days after the did I say transfer? The retrieval, I just started to not feel great. I started to get really bloated. And like, you kind of think, well, this is egg retrieval surgery. I just had surgery. So of course I'm going to feel bloated and uncomfortable, and things are not going to feel totally normal. So I was feeling kind of bloated, and progressively it's just gotten worse and worse. We were camping over the weekend, and it was kind of like rough. It just was really uncomfortable the whole time. The beds in our trailer are not super comfortable. So it was hard to sleep on that. When I'm feeling like, the best way I can describe it is I feel like I just ate like 2 or 3 Thanksgiving dinners. And at the same time, I feel like yesterday I did 400 sit-ups and now I'm sore from them. Do you know what I mean? So I'm feeling like, it feels like a muscle soreness, but at the same time super bloated. Today has been the worst day, at least this morning. I feel better as the day's gone on. I'm feeling pretty good right now, but this morning I was feeling awful. And you're supposed to kind of weigh yourself. You're not supposed to, but if you feel like you might be having some issues, you should be weighing yourself, because you can gain like up to 5 pounds a day in fluid, and that's like a big deal. So I had weighed myself a couple days ago. I try not to weigh myself very much because it's just a big issue for me. So I weighed myself a couple days ago, and then I weighed myself the next day, and I had dropped like 1.5 pounds from one day to the next. So because I was going down, I wasn't really concerned. Then I felt so terrible this morning. I weighed myself again this morning and it was back up. So the weight gain, it's pretty minimal. I mean, 1.5 pounds. I mean, I don't know. What was I gonna say? But in the mirror, I literally, like, standing to the side, looked like I was 20 weeks pregnant. So I talked to the nurse and she was like, well, we can bring you in. If you want to get checked, we would just do an ultrasound of your ovaries, and if there's a lot of fluid in your ovaries, we would drain it. If there's not a lot of fluid though, we wouldn't do anything. And I'm like, so if I come in and there's not a lot of fluid, it's literally like, you just send me on my way. And she's like, yep. So she was just telling me some things I should be doing to kind of help the situation. Like, I should be eating a lot of salt, drinking a lot of low sugar Gatorade, trying to eat like no sugar, which is like impossible for me. I just ate an Oreo, by the way. No sugar, high protein, I don't know. So I'm snacking on salty snacks, drinking Gatorade, Powerade. Powerade's better. Just trying to, like, she said use a heating pad on like your back, that can help. And she said you should be, considering how many days it's been since your transfer, you should be like at your peak. You should see it start going down now. If it gets worse in the next couple days, she's like, we'll need to bring you in. Because she wanted to, well, I said to her, do I need to come in, or you're just offering that to me? Like, you as the nurse, do you think I need to come? And she said, I'd give it a couple days. Because I don't want to go in and waste my time, and Mike's working, and it's just hard. So I just said, okay, I'll give it a couple days, and then if things are not getting better, then I will go in. So anyway, just not feeling great. This did not happen to me before. The other 2 times I've had an egg retrieval, this did not happen, but I had a high number of eggs, so I was at higher risk for it this time around. So anyway, I'm glad it's not worse than it is, but it's extremely uncomfortable, and I don't, like, I'm functional, but I'm not super functional. Like, I don't play with my kid very much during the day. Like, I just kind of sit here and watch him. And I don't know, I'm not really functional. So anyway, hopefully it gets better. But that's the story about the OHSS. Yeah. So anyway, so in a couple of weeks we'll hear back about the genetic testing, and hopefully we'll get at least 2. That would be my hope. I need at least 2. I mean, it would be great if they all come back healthy, or 4. 4 would be, I mean, 6 would be great. 4 would be ideal. 2 would be like minimum for me. But I'm not in charge. My body does what it wants. My embryos do what they want. So anyway, okay, that's all. That's the update. Do I do this at the end of every video? Maybe, but it's always a fingers crossed situation, so.